to the VIP.
Yeah, the IP, VIP.
Don't wait, cause tonight's on me.
It's on me, baby, all on me, yeah.
Sexy models, champagne bottles.
Yeah, the IP, VIP.
Got 2 models, need more bottles.
Bottle when I'm out, got a bottle, there's only one side.
Be Taylor.
Yeah, the IP, VIP. It's on me, baby, all on me, yeah.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Xander Effect. I'm your host, Xander Dames. Hopefully, all of you are having a wonderful Monday. Hopefully, all of you had a wonderful Father's Day. Shout out to all the dads and moms that play both mom and dads out there. Happy Father's Day to all of you. In entertainment news, got a lot of stuff going on, including today the unfortunate passing of director of a couple of the Batman films and The Lost Boys. Joel Schumacher dies at the age of 80 after a year-long battle with cancer. We'll talk a little bit about that. In sports, looks like The Undertaker may have retired after expressing that he is no longer interested in in-ring competition. We'll talk a little bit about that. In video game news, looks like Microsoft is shutting down Mixer and will now partner with Facebook Gaming. We'll talk a little bit about that. Plus, today, I have a special guest, up-and-coming musical artist Zakaeda, and we talk a little bit about his awesome brand new song, Poison, and his journey to getting to where he's at today. But first, here is Allie with Heatwave, right here on the Xander Effect.
Hey yo, Sweet World, what's good with yourselves? This is your boy Twizm Whitepiece, and guess what? You're listening to that super saucy show known as The Xander Effect. So make sure you tune in, turn up, and turn out for my boy Xander. You feel me?
The Xander Effect.
You dig?
2020 Twizm.
Heart is throbbing, glad I met you. I'm your Robin Hood, is where I met you. Made up met with you. Late night wrestling, never slept with you. More than friends, yes. More than lovers, yes. Hold me close, there is no other. I'm your rock, you're my pleasure. Overdose on you, there's nothing better. Late night talks, AM walks, X on my heart, that's your mark. From the start, kisses after dark in your heart, that's my spark. You know me, stone lover, make your body weak from the way I hold you.
It feels so right the way you hold me tight. Eyes open in the middle of the night. We grinding through high as fuck, just like we do when it's like we do it right. You're my passion, lover, touches, kisses, neck and shoulder. Pocket bottle, empty, drunk in love. I need her, you're so wrong. It feels so right the way you hold me tight. Eyes open in the middle of the night. We grinding through high as fuck, just like we do when it's like we do it right. You're my passion, lover, touches, kisses, neck and shoulder. Pocket bottle, empty, drunk in love. I need her.
Take my hand, I'll walk with you. Take my heart, it belongs to you. Hold my soul, it loves you back. Never let go, it's a love like that.
Yes.
So addicted, overdose. Cocaine kisses, nose to nose. You're my lover, I'm your lover. In this room, there is no other. Take my hand, I'll walk with you. Take my heart, it belongs to you. Hold my soul, it loves you back. Never let go, it's a love like that. So conflicted, no one knows. Drunk in love, I'm comatose. You're my passion, I'm your passion. In this night, our love is lasting. So intoxicating. Feel the waves of passion radiating. Cries of joy, sighs of love, your playtime toy, I do not judge. Amazing ways you keep for days. Trading favors, that's our way. Haters hate the way we play, but the rules we break in our love is game. Trade it for nothing. You're in my soul, I need your love. This fire inside, you know it means something. In this life, you'll need for nothing. A product of my heart's ambition to provide you all my love.
Feels so wrong, it feels so right the way you hold me tight. Eyes open in the middle of the night. We grinding through high as fuck, just like we do when it's like we do it right. You're my passion, lover, touches, kisses, neck and shoulder. Pocket bottle, empty, drunk in love. I need her. You're so wrong, it feels so right the way you hold me tight. Eyes open in the middle of the night. We grinding through high as fuck, just like we do when it's like we do it right. You're my passion, lover, touches, kisses, neck and shoulder. Pocket bottle, empty, drunk in love. I need her.
Take my hand, I'll walk with you. Take my heart, it belongs to you. Hold my soul, it loves you back. Never let go, it's a love like that. So addicted, overdose. Cocaine kisses, nose to nose. You're my lover, I'm your lover. In this room, there is no other. Take my hand, I'll walk with you. Take my heart, it belongs to you. Hold my soul, it loves you back. Never let go, it's a love like that. So conflicted, no one knows. Drunk in love, I'm comatose. You're my passion, I'm your passion. In this night, our love is lasting.
Feels so wrong, it feels so right. Feels so right. Feels so right. We grinding through high as fuck, just like we doing. Like we doing. You're my passion, lover, touches, kisses, neck and shoulder, shoulder. Drunk in love, I need her. Feels so wrong, it feels so right the way you hold me tight. Eyes open in the middle of the night. We grinding through high as fuck, just like we do when it's like we do it right. You're my passion, lover, touches, kisses, neck and shoulder. Pocket bottle, empty, drunk in love, I need her.
Take my hand, I'll walk with you. Take my heart, it belongs to you. Hold my soul, it loves you back. Never let go, it's a love like that.
Yes.
So addicted, overdose. Cocaine kisses, nose to nose. You're my lover, I'm your lover. In this room, there is no other. Take my hand, I'll walk with you. Take my heart, it belongs to you. Hold my soul, it loves you back. Never let go, it's a love like that. So conflicted, no one knows. Drunk in love, I'm comatose. You're my passion, I'm your passion. In this night, our love is lasting.
That was Twizm Whitepiece's Overdose right here on the Xander Effect. In entertainment news, today Hollywood has lost a very popular, very amazing director which is Joel Schumacher. The Batman films and Lost Boys director died today at the age of 80 after battling a year-long battle with cancer. Joel Schumacher directed so many amazing films besides Batman Forever and Batman and Robin. He also directed The Lost Boys, one of my favorite movies, actually. Lost Boys was definitely one of my favorite movies. He also directed Falling Down. He was nominated for Academy Awards in a couple of his in one of his movies. He received 3 Oscar nominations for The Phantom of the Opera, which he also directed. But he finally got Oscars for St. Elmo's Fire, which starred Rob Lowe, Emilio Estevez, and Ali Sheedy, and Demi Moore. That's another freaking amazing movie that he also directed. Another one of my favorites was St. Elmo's Fire, and even the music from St. Elmo's Fire is also still being played today as classic throwbacks to that time period. And it's a very sad day in the Hollywood industry to see such a talented director pass. So my condolences go to his family, and Joel Schumacher, you will be missed in the industry. In other entertainment news, speaking of Batman, it looks like Michael Keaton, the original Batman, is in talks to making a special appearance as Bruce Wayne in the new Flash movie starring Ezra Miller. That movie was actually pushed back due to the coronavirus and everything that's going on, but as things start to reopen, looks like they're looking at brand new production dates, and Michael Keaton might be playing his original role, which would be amazing. It looks like the way they're going to integrate him, obviously he can't play Batman in this particular movie because the Batman that was there was actually Ben Affleck, and of course Ben Affleck's not going to play that character. There's already been talks that he already left that whole spiel behind him. But looks like what they're gonna do with this particular movie, because as we all know, in the CW, The Flash, DC's Legends of Tomorrow, Supergirl, Arrow, they were all involved, and also Black Lightning. They were all involved in the crossover having to do with multiverses. So what's gonna happen here? Apparently, the premise for the new Flash movie from Warner Brothers is they're gonna introduce also the multiverse in that movie as well. And with that comes, they kind of teased about it in the crossover that the CW had, which was, Crisis on Infinite Earths, where they did show one of the Earths in the multiverse belonging to the Michael Keaton Batman. They even had the reporter that played the character of the reporter in the original Batman series, or the original Batman movie. So they're actually taking that and putting it into the Flash movie as well, because I guess Flash opens reaches to different multiverses, and in one of them is, the original Batman, Bruce Wayne, Michael Keaton. So that, to be honest with you, that is going to be awesome. They do that, that's just going to be amazing to go ahead and see, this childhood actor come back in his version, because, yes, there was many other Batmans after him, and to be honest with you, Christian Bale's Batman would definitely gave Michael Keaton's Batman a run for his money, because he did an amazing job in that. And I think those are my top 2 best Batmans for all the Batman's franchise. But if it's between Christian Bale and Michael Keaton, I gotta give it to Michael Keaton. Maybe it's because, I don't know, Michael Keaton just brings this kind of a dark, like a darker image of Bruce, maybe, or Bruce Wayne, or maybe it's because, he was the first, Batman in Batman movies that, made him so iconic. But to be honest with you, bringing him back in the new Flash movie, that's going to be a treat for a lot of fans of the original Batman movies. So we'll see what happens. They're still in talks. Nothing has been set in stone, but just the fact of the matter that they're still in talks, that's always a good thing. So let's hope that actually happens. In other entertainment news, looks like Justin Bieber is being accused of sexual assault, but he's not taking it lying down, not even a little bit. Justin Bieber is actually very clearly upset at this accusation because, I don't know, it seems like people are getting accused happy, and trying to, get one of these high-profile celebrities or artists and trying to get either money from them or ruin their reputation. It could be a hater. It could be whatever. But Justin Bieber did not take it lying down. He went ahead and went on social media. He went on Twitter to say, quote, "I don't normally address things as I have dealt with random accusations my entire career. But after talking with my wife and team, I have decided to speak up on an issue tonight. Rumors are rumors, but sexual abuse is something I don't take lightly. I wanted to speak out right away, but out of respect to so many victims who deal with these issues daily, I wanted to make sure I gathered the facts before I made any statement. There is no truth to this story. Every claim of sexual abuse should be taken very seriously, and this is my response, and this is why my response was needed. However, this story is factually impossible, and that is why I will be working with Twitter and authorities to take legal action." And he did, because he went ahead and posted on Twitter various news articles, various receipts, proving that he was nowhere near because he was being accused of sexually assaulting a woman at the Four Seasons, and and this all took place in this all basically took place in 2014, and so the date in question was basically March 9th. And he's got proof galore, that says that he was nowhere near the Four Seasons on March 9th. He was with his then girlfriend, Selena Gomez. He's got witnesses that say that they were with him. I mean, there's a bunch of evidence that basically refutes the allegations of him being anywhere near the Four Seasons or of a sexual assault. So, yeah, I mean, looks like, Justin Bieber definitely, watched himself on this one. And to be honest, good for him. I mean, Bieber, he may have a lot of characteristic flaws that many people have seen throughout the years. But, I mean, to accuse of the guy of something like this, that's pretty heavy. That's pretty heavy. And those are very serious allegations. Hopefully, all these things will prove that, he's innocent and nothing happened, and that person that accused him, well, they might have some legal ramifications for false accusations. So who knows where that's gonna go? We'll see what happens. With all this mess that happened with Bieber. In other entertainment news, I had the opportunity to interview up-and-coming artist Zakaeda, and man, let me tell you, this guy's music is incredible. It's incredible music, and I got to chat with him a little bit about his journey through the musical industry. But first, here is Zakeda's Poison, right here on the Xander Effect.
Pick my poison. I've been high before, but man, this hoe's got me hurting. I've been going through some shit, yeah, I got emotions. Took a look at her, damn, she be deeper than the ocean. Saw my wrist dance, yeah, she like the motion. Going up and down, she a roller coaster. Yeah, she want the drugs, we gon' end up in the ocean. Know she got her motive, pop another pill, now we both be rolling. Whoa, know these people want you in a halo. Yeah, these words, they hit you like a Draco. Maybe I'm just being paranoid. There's just been some things that I can't avoid. Maybe I'm just being paranoid. There's just been some things that I can't avoid. Feels like I'm looking for ghosts, chasing the sound of your voice. I'm alone on the road. I go back
So on the Xander Effect, I have up-and-coming musical artist Zakaeda on here. How you doing, man?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Another beautiful day in paradise, man. I got to tell you, we just came back. We just listened to your song right now, Poison. And, man, that song is freaking incredible, dude. Like, seriously, your music is incredible, bar none. Like, I love hearing up-and-coming artists and all their new stuff that they have got going on. And let me tell you, dude, it's crazy that that you've been doing this type of music and it hasn't like gone mainstream. I mean, what's been going on with that?
Well, I like to keep a very, very low key. And for quite some time before releasing the EP, I released a song called Thorazine, and that was in December. And at that moment, I was just having like a lot of doubts artistically and musically, and I was actually just about to give up on the EP and just music in general and just kind of go a different route. But fortunately, I was able to run into my manager Matt, who's also one of my close friends, and he heard it and he's like, "No, man, you gotta complete this. You gotta just go through with it." And at that time, I was also working with a new engineer, and I gotta say, the team around me saw something that I didn't see in myself, and as soon as I kind of felt, their support, it just sparked something in me, and I just laid out the whole EP in about 2 days.
Nice, man. Well, I gotta tell you, dude, your music is really awesome. Like, I love it. It's the type of music that I actually listen to as well. So I really enjoy it. I gotta ask you though, the name Zakaeda. That name is like, it's very unique. And it's the type of name that I would either hear on a superhero or on a villain. I don't know which one yet.
I gotta say, it's a little bit of both, right? A superhero is usually doing the right thing for society, but the villain is usually the one that sees the corruption in society. So I guess, yeah, I could be both, I guess. But the name came from actually, the insect, a cicada, because they're kind of quiet for about 13 years, and then they come making their noise, and then they go back and just chill. And that kind of reflects on me really as a person. Like I said before, I'm pretty quiet, I'm pretty to myself, but when I have something on my mind or something that I want to express, I express it, and I go very into detail about it, and I'm passionate about it. And then after I express it, I kind of just lay back and see what else will grab my attention that will inspire me.
And that's reflected on your music as well, apparently, because it seems that you're using, you're pretty much, you stay quiet on a personal level, but when you start creating music, that's when it all comes out.
Yeah, absolutely. That's I guess that's like my therapy, is creating music.
And that's actually very common, especially among, talented artists, is that they use a lot of that as therapy to be able to express themselves the right way in a positive manner. So that's really good that you're doing that. Now, did you always want to be, a musician? Like, is that something that was always on your mind at a young age?
Oh, absolutely. I think, music has always just been a part of my life. I remember, I think I was maybe 10 years old. I had some, yard work money, and I went to go buy my first few albums just because I wanted some CDs. And the first 3 albums that I bought were a Guns N' Roses Greatest Hits, just because I like the name Guns N' Roses. I thought it was pretty cool. I got to the Nirvana Nevermind album.
Nice, that's a good one.
And yeah, it's a classic. And then I got Tupac's Greatest Hits, because I knew if I got any other album that didn't say Greatest Hits on it, my mom would probably be like, you know what? We're not going to listen to this. So
no, that's really cool though. So obviously your inspiration for music is stemmed from a lot of different genres.
Yeah, absolutely. It's crazy how diverse, a lot of these genres are, with not only messages, but like sounds, that's really what it stems down to, is I like sounds. So, in the alternative genre, you get, that nice distortion that really just brings out the emotion of whatever it is that the band the singer's trying to get out. And then you go into R&B and you feel, you know, that soul. And then you get into hip hop and rap, and you hear that poetry, you know, what happens on the daily that maybe a lot of people don't really experience. So it's it's interesting. It's all about the sounds from instruments to vocals.
No, for sure. And the song Poison, the lyrics, I mean, did you write that yourself, or was that a collaboration?
Actually, it was like 90% myself. I have a buddy named Tariq, who was actually in the studio with me, and you know, he was coming up with some crazy lyrics that just kind of followed along with the song, and you know, it was a good collaboration. I'm big in collaborating. You know, I feel like the more artists that work together, the better the project will be.
No, and I agree with that. So, I mean, you know, when you created this, I mean, what were you like? What inspired you to create this song specifically?
Well, it's really just about self-reflection. You know, I really feel like at some point, you know, we start to question a lot about a lot, and then, you know, sometimes we get a little paranoid and question why certain people are in our lives or why we're in someone's life. It's a lot of confusion, and, you know, sometimes I feel like we experience a few pseudo spiritual awakenings where we feel like we actually have the answer, and really it's just another mile, you know, down hell or something. So that's pretty much what inspired it. It's just about, you know, the poisons that are trying to, you know, reel me in, and how I'm also, you know, at that point in my life, I was pretty toxic, and it kind of just all made sense why so much toxicity was around me, because at my core, I was just, you know, still not healed, so to speak.
No, and that sounds, again, we go back to you know, doing these things, you know, as a way to as a therapy, because your other song, Thorazine, you know, Thorazine's a medication for schizophrenia. So, I mean, I'm wondering, you know, if was that song telling a story about something that you went through, or maybe something you witnessed? I mean, what was that one about?
Both, actually. So Thorazine was actually originally inspired by the movie Shutter Island, if you've ever seen that movie. So there was a line in there that just got to me. I'm not going to say it just in case no one's seen it. It's a pretty old movie, but it's really good. And that really inspired the chorus melody. And you know, I started looking into Thorazine and what it did, and then I started reflecting on, you know, like the movies, and there's certain scenes that really spoke to me, and I kind of just put it all together, and then I took a step back and thought, how does this relate to me? And really, Thorazine is really just a way of me moving on past my alternative music scene, you know, because before I was doing this, I was in multiple bands as well. And
I was going to actually ask that. I was actually going to ask that too.
Yeah. So that was pretty much my goodbye to alternative music. I wanted to make something a little more close to home with, you know, a genre that's been one of my favorites for as long as I can remember.
Nice. And as speaking about you being in other bands, what was that experience like? I mean, obviously, you know, by what you're saying, it seems that inspired you to create, you know, solo music. But I mean, what was, like, you know, in general, I mean, was that what helped you create solo music, or do you miss kind of being a part of a group?
You know, it was some of the best times in my life, honestly. I mean, it really helped me understand what it was like to not only work with, you know, other musicians, and to really put egos aside and just kind of, you know, collaborate and make something that everyone's proud of. But it also just kind of taught me how much family really is rooted in people that aren't even blood. So a part of me misses that, but at the same time, you know, I've always had a certain way that I wanted to go about making music, and I felt like at some point I would have to go the solo route, just because I wanted to see if I could A, do it on my own, and B, be able to express things on my own, and maybe even work with other artists. You know, unfortunately, one thing that I didn't like about being in a band is that, you know, you couldn't necessarily collaborate with a whole entire band. It's usually like a feature from a vocalist instead of a guitarist and things like that. So I just really wanted to to be able to collaborate with all type of musicians, instrumentalists, and vocalists.
No, and that definitely works out great. So your own solo career that you're doing right now, what genre would you classify it? I mean, would you classify it as rock, alternative rock, R&B alternative? I just created a word right now. So, what exactly, would you consider yourself?
That's a really good question, because I really don't know, because when it was coming down to making this EP, I was really listening to a lot of Juice WRLD, a lot of Lil Peep. I was also listening to oh my gosh, what was the name of the band? I was listening to a lot of The Devil Wears Prada, just going back to my old days, North Lane. So a lot of alternative music and a lot of modern day, I guess, trap music. But so I really don't know, but those artists that I named were some of my influences for this EP, or for that sound of the EP.
No, and that's something that a lot of people, it just seems that whenever classifications come to mind, it's really difficult for a lot of artists to, like, nowadays it's really difficult for a lot of artists to actually classify themselves into one genre, because they're just like picking at different genres and adding them into their music. Like you said earlier, you got inspiration from R&B, from rap, from alternative, from all these different genres. So you can't really choose one, I would imagine.
No, I just like to pick and choose what parts of genres that I like and kind of just mash them into one and, hope that it works.
And well, yeah, so far it has. Your music is really amazing. So far that's exactly what's happening. So I gotta ask, so during this quarantine that we're all facing right now, how has that been treating you? Have you been just like, shelling out more music, just creating more lyrics, just creating and creating? Has the quarantine, stopped you from continuing forward?
Not really. I'm always creating every day. That's just how my mind works. I wake up and I'm already thinking about, okay, how can I do this next graphic, or how can I make this lyric better? So if anything, it really just gave me more time to just chill out and really think about what I want to do next with music and with my sound overall.
So basically it just gave you more of an opportunity to, like, I guess, you got to look at it as it's opening your mind to many more possibilities, I would imagine.
Yeah, absolutely. And honestly, I really took the time to really get to know my team a lot better. I got a really good relationship with my engineer, and that helps a lot. The person that's supposed to make it sound good, having a good relationship with them definitely goes a long way. And just like I said, getting to know my team a little better, and just understanding what it is that we want, not only out of each other but out of the projects.
And how has the team been working with you? How's that been going so far?
Oh man, they have been such a blessing. I would really not be anywhere without them. So they're a huge part of my career, and I'm extremely grateful for them. And I hope that we continue to work throughout the years.
No, for sure. And I also understand that you guys have kind of gone with 50/50 Global Music Inc., which is the same label that powers the Xander Effect.
Yeah, not too long ago I signed over. Yeah.
So how's that experience been for you so far?
It's been absolutely amazing. I can't complain about really anything. They've given me creative freedom. They've listened to me. They've kept in contact with me, and they've been extremely motivating. So I can't complain at all.
Nice, dude. And they're a really good label to be with. I'll tell you that much right now, just because I'm here. So other than that, you got the vocals. You obviously know how to write music. Do you play any instruments at all?
Yeah. So for this EP, I didn't really produce much. I outsourced a lot of the sounds and stuff, because I wanted to see, like I said, that I was able to work with other people in different genres, and it worked. But for the next, couple things that are coming out, yeah, it's all been self-produced. It's been, just me and my engineer. I do play a little bit of piano, a little bit of guitar. and I produce every now and then.
So basically, so that then yeah. So I mean, you're basically trying to like mainly focus on just the production portion of it, not so much in the instrumental part of it.
Correct. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I think I have an understanding of where I want to go instrumentally and sonically. So yeah, now it's just a matter of production and getting that structure that I want, you know?
Nice. So, I mean, what can we expect on the future music that you have cooking right now in the pipeline?
It's a little different from the EP. I'd like to say it's a lot more sub friendly. So if you have a nice sub in your car, you're definitely going to enjoy it. And
Nice.
it's just a little more different and a lot more. I'd like to think of it as progress.
So that's fantastic. Progress is always good. So you also had another debut EP titled Rebirth. What was that? What was the purpose of titling it Rebirth?
So Rebirth was just like it was just a very personal EP for me in general. I knew coming into this project that I wanted to talk about, you know, my past and well, at least the emotions of my past and kind of how that led to the death of an ego, you know. So it was pretty much, yeah, it's the rebirth of me as an artist, as a person, you know. So it was just the intro to a new beginning, I guess.
Okay. And you basically, I mean, you have instrumental sound choices that you love to choose from. What's your favorite instrumental to use on your music?
Oh man, that's a good one. I really like synths and I really like guitars. So I would say both of those, but if I had to pick one, probably guitars, just because it's still organic and the mistakes and flaws within a guitar still sounds, you know, really good.
No, yeah, and I agree with that. I actually like, to be honest with you, I like the combination of guitars and pianos. Those have always been you know, something of my favorite. And every once in a while, I don't mind like adding in a little bit of violin too. Violins actually sound pretty dope too. Like I gotta admit that, you know, having a violin adds a little bit of a somber emotion to a song. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. It can definitely create that, you know, theatrical environment.
Totally. So I mean, you pretty much you bring life to the dark. In other words, you know, and you know, in doing so, is that something that you're trying to pretty much showcase to the public? Is just that there is light at the end of the tunnel?
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, we can all relate to those bad days, you know. I mean, we don't wake up every day feeling 100%, especially if you have, you know, some sort of thing going on in life. It's just, I don't know. I feel like sometimes people just really do get lost, or they feel like they're, you know, pretty much stuck in a dark place. But yeah, no, I mean, every day I woke up and every day I got happier and happier. I mean, yeah, there was some really bad days, but for every bad day, there was 2 good days, you know?
No, that's a really good way to look at it, because that's exactly, especially right now with everything people are going with, the quarantine, with the protests, with everything that's going on. It's always good to know that tomorrow's going to be a better day. At least that's what we're hoping every single time we wake up. So that's always a good thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, I mean, now that things are starting to reopen little by little, are you looking to possibly get into any like concerts? Are you looking to tour pretty soon? What's the plan there?
Kind of. I mean, I'm looking more to be able to host events for my community. That way, you know, I can gather local POC artists and maybe even start, you know, to organize like a mentorship program for all the local artists out here. But I mainly want to do that. I mean, shows will come at some point, you know, especially once I have more music out. But I think right now my focus is not only getting a better sound, but also, you know, trying to build and, you know, progress the community around me.
No, that's a good way to do things. That's for sure. I mean, you know, like use your influential artistic ability to bring a community together. I would imagine.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I wouldn't be anything without the community anyways, but if it wasn't for my team, the community, or even other artists similar to me, I wouldn't exist.
True. That's very true. So, I'm wondering, I know that you're working on your own solo stuff right now. Will you be collaborating with any other artists in the in the near future with your songs coming up at all?
As of right now, it's still up in the air. I would love to. It was just we have to make sure we can get it all approved, and then I would love to feature with a few artists, especially locally, and as we go up the ladder. Yeah.
So in asking that question, I'm wondering who would you ideally like to collaborate with, whether it be an independent artist or somebody more mainstream. I mean, who would you want to go ahead and collaborate with?
As far as on a local level, I gotta say my boy Tariq right now, he's slowly working on some music, so I definitely want to collab with him. Kid's a genius, and I can't wait for him to release some stuff. But on a mainstream level, I would definitely say Travis Scott or Don Toliver. I would definitely love to work with either of them.
Nice. Those are good choices. Those are really good choices. So, when it comes to other inspirations, because I mean, you said that you bought, Guns N' Roses, Tupac, things like that. I mean, what kind of musical influences, inspired you to get into music to begin with?
I would say, let's see, musical influences. Growing up, it was, I mean, unfortunately, Kurt Cobain and Tupac weren't alive, but
they can still be influences. They can still be influences.
Yeah.
In a way,
They were huge influences with my music and just like how I kind of saw the world. But growing up, I remember Neo was one of them. That's someone that I was just like, man, he's a really good songwriter. And then throughout the later years, I remember blasting T.I. So T.I. was another one.
Nice.
Let's see, who else was it? And then later on was Frank Ocean. I think Frank Ocean was the artist really that kind of just molded everything together for me as far as lyrically, musically, and visually. I mean, he was really good at just bringing out, and he still is really good at bringing out, the scene of whatever song he's doing. He just brings it to life and like puts you into the actual song. So I think that was really the biggest influence for me as just an overall artist with music.
Nice, man. Well, I'm glad to hear that you have wonderful choices in artists, and you have great taste in music. So I mean, and obviously it reflects on the music that you're playing right now, so that you're performing right now. So I'm happy to see that you continue to grow. And let me tell you, the only way to go from here is up, bro. Because seriously, your music is amazing. I love your music. I think it's incredible. How can people stalk you on social media so they could go ahead and check out some of what you're up to?
So, like I said, I like to kind of keep low key. So for right now, I only have, I'm only active on Instagram, so they could follow me or check me out at Zakaeda Forever 2020. So yeah.
Sweet. So they could go ahead and check out, the food that you're eating and everything. Because I mean, you take pictures of food maybe or something, or
Actually, a lot of the time I'm just in the studio.
Okay, all right. Well, I mean, maybe you could go ahead and take a picture of whatever you're eating in the studio too. So we could go ahead and do that one.
I should, because I'm going to tell you right now that when we get together in the studio, we have the best food. I mean, we're talking anywhere from home cooked meals. Sometimes we'll get Popeye. Sometimes we'll get local Mexican food. Things like that. So we're always eating good in the studio.
Nice. So and in asking about the studio, how many hours a day do you spend in the studio?
So fortunately, I'm lucky enough to have a little setup at my house. So, when I get home from whatever it is I'm doing, I usually spend a couple hours here, either making sounds or creating vocal melodies. And then when I'm ready, or when I think I have a good idea, I'll go to my engineer studio, Dan Alvarez. I'll go to his studio, and we will stay there from anywhere from like 6 p.m. until 6 a.m. for 2 days straight.
Wow. And let me guess, studio has no windows, nothing, right?
Nothing. It's literally just a very dark room with LED lights.
Yep. That sounds about right. I've been in studios, man, and let me tell you, like, the hours just go by and you don't even feel it until you're like, as soon as you open the door, you look outside and you're like, it wasn't sunny when I got here. Like, what in the world just happened? Someone just turned on the lights. But no, it's really cool, man. Well, Zakaeda, thank you so much for being on the Xander Effect. I love your music. I will continue to play your music. Hopefully I get to have you on the show again, especially when you go ahead and you drop your new music as well. And hopefully maybe once this whole crazy quarantine's done and over with, we could have a sit down and actually have an in-person interview. And we could chat a little bit more about what you got going on, and maybe even chat with you at a concert that you're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. And by the way, thank you for having me. It was, big pleasure. But once all this is over and I have more to share, then I would love to sit down and talk further. And who knows, maybe I'll do a couple tours and be out by you.
Sounds good. I like that idea. All right, man. Well, we'll talk to you very soon, and keep doing what you're doing.
All right, thank you.
All right, take care. Thank you so much, Zakaeda, for being on the Xander Effect. Looking forward to having you on again as your music continues to grow. In sports, WWE's Undertaker, real name Mark Calloway, pretty much, hinted at his retirement already. The 55-year-old was quoted in a new documentary by the WWE Network called Last Ride. And he basically said in the documentary, well, actually, it's more like a biopic. And he's talked about his match against AJ Styles at WrestleMania, at this year's WrestleMania, which is the Boneyard match, which that match was freaking, I hate to use AJ's wording, but it was phenomenal. And of course, Undertaker beat AJ Styles in that Boneyard match. And from what Mark Calloway said in the biopic, he said, quote, "It was a perfect moment. You don't necessarily always get those. If there was ever a perfect ending to a career, that right there was it. It's time this cowboy really rides away. I can do more good outside the ring than I can inside. I'm finally at a place where I can accept that." So basically, he really didn't officially say he was retiring. But at the same time, he also didn't dispute it either. I mean, that what he was saying, it almost seems like it's kind of like a farewell type of thing, to be honest. Not to mention, he also did mention that he would probably consider returning for one last match, but of course, only time would tell. So again, he could just be, he could say that he's retired. He was already practically retired as it was after the Roman Reigns WrestleMania match, when we saw him put his jacket, his hat, his gloves down in the middle of the ring and walk out. We all believed he retired then, and in a sense he kind of did, because he became only he's been a part-time wrestler for the past few years. I mean, he is 55 and he's had, close to 3 decades of being in the industry, and that's not an easy industry to be in. It's a very hard life, traveling all the time. I mean, there's broken bones. Yeah. The entertainment is entertaining. It's all acting and everything, but the actual wrestling, that's real. That actually hurts, because those mats are not made up of marshmallows. They hurt when you hit them. So, I mean, that type of stuff, some of the wrestling that happens is actually real. And, many wrestlers have gotten bones broken from doing what they do, what they love to do, and which is entertaining all of us. So it's no wonder that Mark has decided to go ahead and possibly retire. I mean, the last time he had a really serious injury was the WrestleMania against Brock Lesnar, where he lost for the very first time at WrestleMania, and he suffered a concussion. back then. And little by little, it's been happening with Undertaker that he's been getting more and more injuries whenever he comes back to in-ring competition after being absent for so long. So that could also have a lot to do with it as well. But, I mean, it's sad to see an icon like that go. And even AJ Styles went ahead and tweeted, he went ahead and said, quote, still floored by the experience and reaction to the hashtag Boneyard match at hashtag WrestleMania. If it was the last time at Undertaker laced up his boots, I'm honored it was with me. Hashtag last ride. And, it's one of those things where, so many other people also went to social media and expressed their sadness for Undertaker saying goodbye. There's a ring announcer named Mike Rome that also went on Twitter and said, quote, thank you for making our childhood so cool. Thank you for the journeys you took us on. Thank you for growing with us and evolving. Thank you for being larger than life. Thank you for everything you have given to wrestling. You will always be hashtag the Phenom. Hashtag thank you, Taker. And to be honest, I share those sentiments with each and every single one of the wrestling fans. I've watched Undertaker since he made his debut. It's his debut at SummerSlam. And I was scared. When I was a kid, I used to watch Undertaker. I was terrified of him, especially when he went ahead and, he went up against the Ultimate Warrior. And he joined forces with Papa Shango. That right there scared the hell out of me when I was a kid. I mean, I thought it was, at the time I thought, all this stuff was real. And I was like, oh my God, this guy's crazy. There's a voodoo guy and there's a dead man. It's like insane. He did such an amazing job scaring us, but at the same time, having all of the fans love him for what he does. He is the Phenom. He will always be the Phenom. And in my eyes, in my heart, I will miss him as well. I was already starting to miss him when he wasn't doing any more wrestling events, no more wrestling matches, because there's just nobody like The Undertaker. Nobody that brings magic to wrestling as much as The Undertaker did. And, Undertaker, Mark Calloway, thank you so much for my childhood memories. Thank you so much for being just an icon in WWE. In other sports news, federal authorities are investigating a noose that was found in Bubba Wallace's garage at NASCAR. And they're taking this very seriously because apparently, Bubba Wallace has been very vocal about, Black Lives Matter and about being, together and everything. And seems like somebody at NASCAR, nobody knows who it is yet, but authorities are investigating, decided to send a message to Bubba by placing a noose in his garage at a NASCAR Speedway event. And it's just something in poor taste. J.E. Town, the United States Attorney for the Northern District of Alabama, said, quote, regardless of whether federal charges can be brought, this type of action has no place in our society. And it's true. It's true. It's absolutely true. This is not the time to be doing things like this. Even if it was a prank, it was in poor taste. It was incredibly in poor taste, and it's not something that should be ever taken lightly. Bubba went ahead and he said, quote, this will not break me. I will not give in, nor will I back down. I will continue to proudly stand for what I believe in. So, Bubba is definitely not backing down from anything that he's that he's believing in, which props to him for that. Richard Petty, another driver also who employs Wallace, went ahead and said, quote, the sick person who perpetrated this act must be found, exposed, and swiftly and immediately expelled from NASCAR. I believe in my heart this despicable act is not representative of the competitors I see each day in the NASCAR garage area. I stand shoulder to shoulder with Bubba, yesterday, today, tomorrow, and every day forward. So that's basically, a lot of people have his back. And to be honest with you, that's just in poor taste what they did. I hope they end up solving who did this and decide to expel him from NASCAR. In other sports news, very disturbing things happened over the weekend with an MMA with a UFC event that it was basically Max Roskovs and went ahead and took on Austin Hubbard in his debut at the UFC event, and this is actually with short notice. He was actually just added to the card. He had to cut weight. He had to do a lot of things, and he went ahead and he went up again against Austin, and he was getting beaten and battered. He decided to, pretty much call off the fight, right before the start of round 3 of the fight, and Roscoff, he basically was sitting there. I saw the video. He was sitting there. He was pleading with his corner, with his coach Robert Drysdale. And in a video that's posted all over Twitter, he kept on telling Drysdale, "Call it, call it." And Drysdale just kept on pushing and pushing, saying, you're a champion, stop it, you could do this, just take him down, and he just was not feeling it. He wasn't feeling it. He kept on telling him, no, call it, and Drysdale refused to, and then finally the referee stepped in and said, are you done? And he was like, yes, call it, so they ended up calling off the fight, but this is all against Drysdale's suggestions, and because of that, there's an investigation going on about that, because when a fighter says that they can't. Stop pushing them to continue forward. There's got to be a reason why this kid was saying no more, and it's just, it's not right for this person, for a coach especially, to keep on pushing his fighter to continue forward if he doesn't want to. I mean, this is something that, for lack of a better word, no means no. If the guy's done, the guy's done. Stop pushing for him to continue to get beaten out there in the octagon. Dana White went ahead and said, quote, let me tell you what, in this effing sport, if you're done, you're done. You should absolutely be able to quit. I know that it's frowned upon, but guess what? Anybody that would talk ass about you quitting isn't in there fighting. It's really easy to be a critic. What these kids do is a whole other level. As the guy who runs this organization, as the guy who's involved in the matchmaking and everything else, you see these kids, we deal with managers from all over the world. They're like, this guy's the guy. This guy's the guy. When you get here, this is a whole different level, and that guy's not ready, and he might not ever be ready. I've told you guys this many times before. I believe back in the day that I was a fighter and I wanted to do this, and one day I found out that I wasn't. The realization was that I wasn't. When you find out, you need to walk away. I'm not saying that's the case with this kid, but if that kid felt like he needed to quit, who the F is anybody to judge him on that? He had the balls to come here and fight and take short notice fight in the UFC, period. And to be honest with you, I mean, Dana White's got a point on that, because at the end of the day, he cut weight, and even Brian Butker of Sucker Punch Entertainment, he went ahead and said, quote, Max suffered from fatigue due to the short notice weight cut combined with a pre-existing turf toe injury and was not able to overcome both. Didn't think the turf toe would become an issue, but combined with the fatigue, he just couldn't keep going. He is going to take some time off to heal up. So that's the bottom line when it happens to that. And at the end of the day, we cannot criticize. We're not in there. We're not fighters. Fans cannot automatically say, oh, the guy's being, being weak, he's being a pansy, whatever. Dude, you don't know what these guys go through. I mean, this is a fight. Yes, it's got gloves, but it's still a fight. I mean, you're there to get hurt. You're there to bleed. You're there to get cut. You're there to get your bones broken. You're there to get slammed. You're there to pretty much get destroyed or be the destroyer. But even as a destroyer, you're still going to take your licks anyway in order to be able to win. So for somebody to go ahead and criticize this dude for saying, stop the fight, there's got to be a reason why he did that. And you know what? He had the brains to do so before he got seriously injured. So that was good on him for doing that. I don't criticize. I actually praise the guy for actually having the brains to stop the fight. Doesn't make him a coward, makes him intelligent for doing that. So that's my take on that. Coming up next in video game news, it looks like Microsoft is saying goodbye to Mixer and saying hello to Facebook Gaming. We'll talk a little bit about that coming up next. But first, here is Marquiese McClendon's 5th Street right here on the Xander Effect.
This is a beneficial production.
It's that 5th Street flow, we brought the army out. Me and Ryder, we thuggin' out of Monica house. Broke her heart when I moved out of my mama house. Broke her heart when I called mama to bomb me out. I was protection for a lot of niggas. On the block with binoculars, how I'm watching niggas. You ain't coming to my side without my permission. You know one false move can put us all in prison. Was tripping in them apartments. At least we ain't had that blicky when they caught us. Told my nigga to punch it because I think they on us. This shit ain't get easier, we just got smarter. Now my brother on the run from him. They came to me for some info, I ain't got none for him. He got out the country, he put the dust on him. What's fucked up is that his own nigga told on him. Why you do him like that? You know he would've gave the shirt off his back. You don't know what it's like to do a bit on that mat. That's why you telling no niggas to cut your sentence in half. Ayy, and that nigga still love you. No matter how bad you did him, you know a brother's a brother. This one for the guys, we gon' ride for each other. These bitch ass niggas, ungrateful motherfuckers. I can't even tell the whole story. Cause after I tell you, I gotta worry. You know that jury will give you 30. That's why you can't do dirt around niggas that ain't sturdy. It might take a minute, you'll get it. You shouldn't have to try to be a real nigga. I told you I'll forgive you, I won't forget it. Now let's eat, I'm your fucking meal ticket.
This is a beneficial production.
What's going on? It's Amanda Holley, and you're listening to the Xander Effect.
Tripping, you stay up on my mind. The reason that my heart beats if you leave a flat line. We got such a connection, just let the stars align. Baby, make a wish and close your eyes. I don't wanna miss this now, I don't wanna let this go. Something I just wanna know, tell me what you're wishing for. You pull up the whip, it's for you, take me on trips to Dubai. But they don't compare to the feelings that you got me feeling.
That was Amanda Holley's Get It Boy right here on the Xander Effect. In video game news, looks like Microsoft is shutting down Mixer and will now be partnering with Facebook Gaming. They went ahead and made the announcement that they are shutting down Mixer, and on July 22nd, it will redirect all Mixer sites and apps to Facebook Gaming. What's that mean? Well, basically, that means that all the streamers on Mixer will either have to go to Facebook Gaming or continue or return to Twitch. So that's pretty much where, what's going to happen there. Microsoft made the decision and they said, quote, "It became clear that the time needed to grow our own live stream community to scale was out of measure with the vision and experiences we want to deliver to gamers now." So that also means that at this point, top streamers like Tyler, quote, Ninja Blevins, and Corey, quote, King Gathalion, and Michael Shroud Grizik, will actually have to find a new home. Now, so far, Tyler went ahead, King Gathalion went ahead and announced that he will be joining Facebook Gaming on June 24th. So he's already going there. But right now, it's unclear whether Ninja or Shroud will be also going there at this time. Dexerto's Richard Lewis went ahead and said, quote, "Sources familiar with the deal have informed me that while Facebook did try and negotiate to keep their big partners, both Shroud and Ninja opted out. They have received their full payments and as of midnight yesterday, were free to engage in talks with other platforms. Game on." So this decision by Microsoft has created a bit of a chaotic transition for many of these streamers. So we'll see what happens, in the future. We'll see if Ninja and Shroud decide to go ahead and join in on the new Facebook gaming platform. That's the news. In case you haven't heard it, thank you so much for listening. Remember, there's still a virus out there. There's still you still need to continue to be safe. Please continue to practice social distancing. Remember to wear a mask when you go out, gloves if you got them, goggles if you got them. Right now, we still need to be safe and keep ourselves safe and our loved ones safe. Remember, in these very trying times, very difficult times of separation, this is the times that we need to be mostly together. This is one world. We are all in this together. And remember, music always, always heals all. We'll see you next time.
Yo. That be tell I told. Yeah, you did. They ain't believe it though. One life. Do Brown. Same game, be telling. What up? Woo! So we kick it like it's kickball. Yo. Power couple. She dripping in that Dolce Gabbana. They wanna touch her. Everybody know that's do girl. What you gonna do about it? Me and her take on the world. Now that's the truth.
Hey everyone, the Xander Effect is powered by 50/50 Global Music Inc., Sony Music, The Orchard, and BMG Bertelsmann Group, in association with Art 19 Media.